Maybe some of you heard that Stephen Hawking, the famous physicist who was my big idol when I was a young teenager, he said maybe we should, the human race should find a way to avoid being detected by aliens. Because see what happened to the Native Americans when the aliens landed here. Are they going to do good things to us? Probably not. With all due respect to Professor Hawking, which I admire him a lot, actually I was thinking that when you look at our written history, which goes back to at most, let's say, 10,000 to 20,000 years, it was only 200 years without a war. And still we call ourselves civilized or the most intelligent beings on this planet. And I was thinking, if there are really civilized intelligence out there and they are watching us, that we are fighting, making excuses for war. The other day, the guy was saying we should nuclear bomb Iran in New York. He was saying that the best way to send a message to the clerics in Iran is to use a nuclear bomb. So that was his advice to the administration. He's a very wealthy man, right-wing. He said the best way to send a message to clerics in Iran is to use a nuclear bomb in one of the deserts in Iran, and next time we should use it in Tehran. But first there. So obviously this guy didn't have any clue how the nuclear bomb works. It's not 4th of July fireworks. It's a nuclear bomb. Or the other guy in Iran who said we should wipe out Israel by a nuclear bomb. It's a small country. I have some unfortunate statistics to show you before I get to my main point. But to be honest, I was thinking, if we are among those civilized intelligence out there, we should keep quiet. We don't want to be detected by this race, whatever, on this planet, who finds any excuse to kill themselves. Okay, so let me see whether I can, where was it? So I want to talk about critical thinking, the importance of critical thinking, although Habib, I don't know, he didn't leave many rooms for me to maneuver. Again, I have to improvise. But wars. And see, I wanted to be very conservative in this case and provide some not very recent statistics. It's just between 1945 and 1988, 9 wars with more than 100,000 killed were in progress. Okay? So that's old statistics. It's not even new. And you know what happens after 9/11. What type of war? 192 nation states are in existence in average. They are members of United Nations or maybe ununited nations. There were 107 civil wars began in this period, just between 1989 and 1998, in the period of 10 years. 10 of these civil wars were internationalized. And in 1999, there were 30 wars underway, and there are more actually right now. So 9 out of every 10 wars take place in the developing world. So this is the question of the month. Peace and stability in the advanced industrialized world, but war and instability in much of the developing world, the so-called third world countries. Why is that? I guess this is a sign of hypocrisy. So a democratic peace, I guess, is you cannot, as one president said, to bring democracy to another country to begin a war. This is an oxymoron, to my mind, statement. You cannot bring peace by starting a war. So, democracies do not fight wars against other democracies. You can defend your democracy, that's a different situation, of course. So there are cultural and norm-based explanations. There are practices of peaceful conflict resolution within democracies spills into relations between democracies, respect right of self-determination, cultural constraints against violence. Institution-based explanation would be the following. Elections and other checks and balances make governments in democratic societies less able to use force. That's exactly going back to what Habib was responding to one of the questions. We have to be a responsible citizen of the world. To use force, government must pursue legislature, bureaucracy, and the most important thing to my mind would be public opinion. Constraints, of course, make it difficult to use force against democracies or any, even undemocratic countries. When you act unilaterally, then the other side also can argue the same thing. You cannot bully the world and then expect respect. It doesn't work that way. Now, I want to talk about belief because usually we are driven by our belief system. There are fallacies of belief. It is true most of the time because I believe it. It is true because we believe it. That's even worse. It is true because I want to believe it. It is true because I have always believed it. It is true because it is in my selfish interest to believe it. There is possibility to be like that, and you know that. Thinking is to create meaning. Feeling is monitor or evaluate meaning. So, by thinking, you are giving meaning. By feeling, you are monitoring or evaluating your meaning. The next step is wanting. So in wanting, you allocate energy to action in keeping with our definition of what is desirable and possible. So for every possible thought, the mind believes there is a corresponding emotion and value. Now ask yourself, what is thinking that influences me not to want to learn this? What is the value of learning it? Why are we afraid of breaking the burdens? Why we are afraid of thinking out of box? Actually, forget the box. Let's ruin the box. There shouldn't be any box, as far as you have a logic. So there are three functions of the mind That's how I have tabulated them. So thinking is, as I mentioned to you, make sense of the world. Judging, perceiving, analyzing, clarifying, determining, comparing, synthesizing. Feelings is tell us how we are doing. Like being happy, sad, depressed most of the time, anxious all the time, stressed, calm, worried, excited. I'm really excited right now. Wanting, which is the driving force for us to act. So you set up a goal and you will move towards your goal. So it's about goals, desires, purposes, agendas, values, and motives. Now, what is the intellectual interest of reason? Usually, either you have faith in charismatic national leaders. I guess history has told us that is not a good thing to do. Hitler had a very charismatic view among his people at that time. Ayatollah Khomeini had the same thing. Stalin was very popular too. So either you have faith in charismatic national leaders or faith in charismatic cult leaders, faith in the father and traditional head of the household. You usually think that, our family is the best family. No argue about that. This is one of the problems I have with religions. I have no problems with religions as you believe in something. But the problem is that when you want to compare it, you can say, my dad, my mom is the best dad or mom that I could have. But see what happens if each of us would say, your mom and dad are really, really miserable creatures. My mom and dad, they rock. They are much better than yours. This is the thing, this is the dialogue between the religions. That my religion is better than yours. You are going to hell by default. What is the default? My religion. So, faith in institutional authorities, faith in spiritual powers, faith in some social group, faith in some political ideology, faith in institution, faith in political ideology, whether it is communism, socialism, fundamentalism, liberalism, whatever ism you might think of. Faith in one's unanalyzed emotions, faith in one's gut impulses, faith in fate. Fatalism is one thing we suffer a lot, particularly in Middle East. Everything has been decided. The big brothers are playing the chess. We have no powers to change the fate. Faith in social or legal institutions. Faith in folk ways or mores. Faith in one's own unanalyzed experiences, and faith in people who have social status. Habib was saying, I have a PhD, so people have faith in me. For security reasons, please remove. Oh, NSA is watching us. Okay. What is critical thinking? Problem solving, analyzing information, interpreting information, recognizing biases. It's very important because it is hard to be unbiased, to be honest. Everyone has his or her own bias. And it is very hard to be self-critical, to criticize yourself. Understanding diverse points of view and applying information and And most important thing, you have the willing and wanting to learn all the time. Learning and questioning. Becoming a fair-minded critical thinker. So, I say it is our ability to be fair-minded is the result of cognitive and socio-emotional development. We must all recognize that to be fair-minded, we must develop these traits such as intellectual humility, intellectual integrity. There are many intellectuals, they self-called intellectuals, who do not have integrity. They lie for justifying their goals. Intellectual courage, intellectual autonomy, intellectual empathy, intellectual perseverance, and confidence in reason, and in short, intellectual honesty. This is extremely important. Even if you think your theory is wrong, you should be the first one to say that you made a mistake and your theory, your ideas were wrong. Questions implied by the universal structure of thought. What is my fundamental purpose? Goals, desires, needs, values. What is the key question I'm trying to answer? These are the questions that you should ask yourself as a critical thinker. What information do I need to answer my question? What is the most basic concept in the question? What assumptions am I using in my reasoning? Again, your assumptions could be really biased. Biased by your faith, by your nationality, by your cult, by your family. What is my point of view with respect to the issue? What are my most fundamental interferences or conclusions? What are the implications for my reasoning if I am correct? Reasoning, that's extremely important. Purpose. Humans reason in line with their goals, values, needs, and desires. Point of view. Our thinking has a focus or orientation, concepts, general categories, or ideas by which we interpret, classify, or group the information we use in thinking. We often face questions we need to answer, problems we need to solve, issues we need to resolve and address. Information in our reasoning, facts, data, these are extremely important. Usually our claims are baseless, right? Extraordinary claims need extraordinary evidences. Information in our reasoning are facts, data, or experiences to support our conclusions. Story of Jack and Jill. 3 types of questions. You can have a system. This is usually the case for sciences, hardcore sciences, physics, chemistry, biology, and of course mathematics, which is not science, but it's the best human knowledge. It's the tool that we have. So in this system, you require evidence and reasoning within a system. So you have to have a self-consistency within the system. If you get a correct answer, you add to the knowledge. That has been the case for improvement of our knowledge. Or you have no system. This is mostly about hardcore sciences, social sciences, psychology, sociology. You call for a setting with a subjective preference. You would have a subjective opinion, and it is not easy to be assessed. In a real, honest-to-God society, we have the third case, a conflicting systems. It's not one system or no system. It's the mixture of all of them. You require evidence and reasoning within multiple systems, better and worse answers, and finally, judgment. So I will give you some examples. Examples of one system questions could be, what is the boiling point of the lead or water? What is the size of this room? You can find it out. What is the differential of that equation, for those of you who have a mathematical background? How does a hard drive on this computer operate? What is the sum of 659 and 779? How is the potato soup prepared according to established Polish tradition? Questions of preference. Would you rather have short hair or long hair? Or would you prefer that your head be shaved, either completely or in some segments? Do you like to go to opera? Do you like to watch football on TV? Do you prefer a flat pillow or fluffy pillow? Do you want a ring or a necklace? Do you want to go outside now? I guess most of you want to go now. I really admire your patience. Questions for judgment. This is about conflicting systems. So the other one were questions with no system. Questions requiring reasoning, but with more than one arguable answer. So there is no simple answer to these questions. These are questions that make sense to debate, like the question we have on table today. Questions with better or worse answers, well supported and reasoned, like what Dr. Habib was saying, or poorly supported and poorly reasoned answers like mine. We are seeking the best answer within the range of possibilities. That's extremely important. That's the best we can do. We evaluate answers to such questions using universal intellectual standards, such as breadth, depth, logicalness, which is extremely important, and so forth. Because if you remove logic, I guess then people can say anything and they can do anything they want to. I told you it's better to break the box, but not the box of logic. I have only 2 minutes left. Okay. So I have to speed up. So to determine which of these three types of questions we are dealing with in any given case, we can ask the following questions. Are there relevant facts? We usually forget about the facts. It's extremely important. Otherwise it would be baseless. Are there relevant facts we need to consider? If yes, then either the facts alone settle the questions, and we are dealing with the questions of procedure, or the facts can be interpreted in different ways, and the question is debatable. If there are no facts to consider, then it's a matter of personal preference, and that's the reason the conflict started. If the facts settle the question, then it's a one system procedural question. My final slide. Intellectual standards and elements of reasoning. Clarity. Accuracy. precision, relevance, depth, breadth, logic, significance, and fairness. Purpose, goal, end in view, question at issues or problems to be solved, information, data, facts, observations, experiences, implications and consequences, concepts, theories, definitions, axioms like mathematics, laws, principles, models, points of view, frames of reference, perspective, orientation. So if we try to implement these pillars, we don't need a shepherd to tell us what to do. We would be an active citizen of the world who cares about humanity. And I guess maybe only at that moment we will be in such a peaceful place that even intelligence out there would envy us. But not now, maybe in future. Thank you so much.